Okay, both these guys have readied up in the SRL race room, so should be getting going fairly soon. Okay, so race will be beginning in 10 seconds plus stream delay. This should be a good one. And they're off. Looks like we got a bit more delay on TNT's side, but not a huge problem. Thug's live split didn't start, but at least we can look at TNT's to see roughly how far in they are. Like I say, there's only a couple seconds delay between them. So, for anyone who doesn't know, this category is no cape, no star wall, as you can see at the bottom, but that means they are taking the long route through the game. They can't use the Star World, which is essentially meaning this is the warpless version of the game. And no cape changes the category so that they can't just fly over a bunch of the levels. In regular no Star Worlds, they would be grabbing a cape at the start of World 2 and flying over a lot of the levels in that world. As well as some later on as well. But no cape means you'll be seeing a lot more platforming, so they're gonna have to better know how to control Mario and know what's actually going on at the level on the ground. So these brown platforms they want to be running on for as long as they can. They push Mario right slightly, and you can save up to 3 frames per platform by running on them. And that will change their game time at the top to be a 2:59 when they finish the level. If they didn't run on them long enough, they'd only get a 2:58. And these guys are both pretty good, so we should be, seeing a 2:59 on both of them. There's not a whole lot to talk about in World 1 other than just hold right and jump, swag out where you can. Although there is a trick that they might go for in this level which could push them slightly ahead. We'll see if either of them go for it. And that's to do with these shells here. So Thug just threw it. Looked like TNT went for it, but didn't get it. So you can do a slight left-right, and then... Oh, TNT landed on the... Oh, okay, so they're gonna be... Yeah, they're gonna be restarting because of Thug's live split. That's why TNT's just dancing on the pipe there. It makes sense. He'll want to know how well he's doing throughout the race. It can be kind of strange when you're doing a run and you don't know the... Yeah, Thug asked for the reset. He's already forfeited from the race room. There we go. Oh, Thug's left the race room as well. Thug didn't start his live split properly, but and so he wanted to reset. Not sure what's going on now though. It says -1 on his. Alright, looks like he's fixed it. Yeah, so... looks like TNT is just messing around. Hopefully he won't be in this level when they're actually doing the race. I wonder if Thug's setting up a new live split thing. That glitch that you see TNT doing on the right there, you see he's got a weird sprite in his item box. That's the orb from the Sunken Ghost chip. If he drops that from his item box, he can just finish a level instantly. And if you do that in a castle, it will not play the cutscene. So it's about 15 seconds faster and an 11 exit run to get that. As you see TNT doing right there. So he doesn't have to play this castle with that auto-scroll the second room, doesn't have to sit through the castle cutscene afterwards. He just does that and it beats the level. And the way you get that is you do a glitch called an item swap while you're Fire Mario with a clap and chuck. For some reason the chucks in this game are technically power-ups. So if you do a glitch to make Yoshi eat them, you can get weird stuff in your item box. But looks like TNT is just doing a 11 exit run while we're waiting for Thug to join back. Seeing if you can beat the game while we're waiting for the restart. But oh well. It wouldn't be a SMW race if it started on time. Okay, and they're going. So I think we should be seeing TNT reset soon since he's readied up. No. The item swap... well, the item swap itself isn't banned, but that specific instance of it is. Chuck Eats in general are banned in most categories other than the credit swap and 11 exit, because there's potential to do ace and potential to crash the game, and it's just deemed less fun of a run if you allow orb and cloud. So they're usually banned. But yeah, like I was saying, back to this. For anyone who's joined since the last time we started this about 10 minutes ago, this is no cape, no star walls, which means no use of the cape. You can't just fly over a ton of levels, and you are taking the warpless route through the game. So taking the long route through Forest of Illusion, through Chocolate Island, all the way to Bowser, rather than just going straight through Star Warp and 11 exits. And you see they both got a 360 on the game time on their HUD at the top there. If you hear me to refer to a number at the end of the level, that'll be what I'm talking about. And like I said last time, they'll get a 259 in this level if they run on these brown platforms correctly, as they push Mario to the right. You can save up to 3 frames per platform if you run on them from the very beginning to the very end. If you don't run on those for long enough, then you'll get a 258. Or if you land on any of the platforms that are moving to the left, you'll get a 258 as well. You want to avoid those. And as I said before, like, no surprise that they both got it. They're both good runners of this game. In terms of PB, I didn't get around to mentioning before we had the reset. These guys are actually right next to each other on the leaderboards at the moment. Thug's PB was from last month. He has a 35.22, and TNT has a 35.28, but that's from January 2018. So it's been... that's probably from the last No Cape No Star World tournament. So they're right next to each other. This should be a good race. So going into the castle, we won't be seeing TNT use the orb like he did a minute ago. You'll get to see the level in its full beauty. So the reason they're staying small is for the first jump under Koopa at the start, and the Koopa that TNT just jumped under before there. You can get under them easier, and you can make it a closer jump if you're small, and they grab the midway at the end of this room, like the first room, to get big, and then get fire in the auto-scroller. Looks like TNT's not going for the Fire Flower, so he might be going for a damage boost in World 2, and then small strats until Donut Plains 4. Thug going full fire, so we'll probably be seeing him keep that for a bit longer. This is an interesting category because while fire is used to kill the bosses quicker, and you can obviously get enemies out of your way by turning them into coins. But small, for some runners, they find it easier, and there's not a huge difference in World 2, and Worlds 1 and 2 until the Castle 2. So, because there's not a huge time difference, whether you go fire or small, it's an interesting category that you'll see different runners do different things. Depending on whichever they find easiest, just it's preference. And I think that's really cool. So like I said before, this is where they'd usually be getting the cape in other categories. Oh, Thug taking damage there. That's probably not where he intended to take it, but it's not a big deal if he knows the strats. Didn't get the midway, so he might be thinking it's not worth another damage boost, because that's a bit slower. Or he might be fine going small. We'll see. I'm not sure which he usually does. But using Yoshi there for another jump and getting up to the secret exit is pretty good. 360 on the game timer for both of them. And we'll be seeing Yoshi used for less glitches in this run and more for second jumps. There's one exception to that later on in the run, but I'll talk about that when we get there. So for now, we're just swimming through... Oh, Thug going for a scroll, getting that Rip Fanfish out of the way sooner. I haven't seen anyone else do that this tournament. May have been just that I've missed it, but that's interesting to see. So the power-up transition and the damage boost, you know, transition back to being small, they take time, and so it's slower to just keep on getting it and losing it again. But some people do grab fire early, some people wait until Donut Plains 4 and get it, which you'll be seeing in a minute. As I said, it's just preference. A lot of people, myself included, find Donut Plains 3 to be easier if you're small. And for the majority of World 2, it doesn't make a difference, really, which strat you do, small or big. So you saw them spin jumping on the boo to get up to the top there. And that's an example of the kind of skips we'll be seeing through the run. Not always just going to be taking the platforms as intended. And here is the level that's pretty damn interesting to see done well. Oh, Thug taking... and TNT taking a death. This is one that's probably the first big hurdle for learning this category. It's one that throws up runners, like even top runners will still lose a run to this level sometimes. As you see here, like, both of these are good runners and both of them took a death. Looks like they're both getting through it better this time though, taking the midway there. 62 on the game timer from both of them again, so that's great. We have got a couple seconds more delay on TNTs, so even though it looks like he's slightly behind, they're probably about in sync right now. I'd say if anything, TNT might be slightly ahead, but there's pretty much nothing in it. So Thug using a shell strat there, which I find to be super sexy, I'm not gonna lie. Well, TNT just took the slightly slower running up the wall. And this is where we're going to see them grab Yoshi for use in Vanilla Dome, and the Fire Flower to fight Roy with. Not Roy, Morton, sorry. So we saw TNT dismount Yoshi there, and we'll see Thug do the same. That's to make the getting him across to the final platform much easier. When you throw Yoshi, he'll go farther forwards, and it's much tighter to get onto that without the dismount. So room 2 in this castle is one that you don't get to see in caped categories as well. It's kind of an interesting room, but fairly short. And then we wait. Yeah, Donut Plains 3 is considered one of the toughest levels, especially when you first learn the category. And it's probably one of the ones that people find the least consistent as well. There are other ones, like the end of Forest of Illusion 1, a lot of people have trouble with as well, but yeah, they're past the first difficult one now. TNT didn't manage to keep that hold of that spring. Oh, Thug losing it as well. So neither of them got to save a little bit of time over the other there. And they ideally wanted to throw that spring down to get up without having to wait for the layer 2 to come back to the right, but because they both lost it, no big deal for either of them there. And we saw them both shoot 2 fireballs at Morton, then stomp on him once as opposed to 3 stomps, and that's faster. Of course. When you've got fire, you can either go for 2 fireballs and a jump, 12 fireballs, or 3 jumps. The 2 fireballs and 1 stomp being the fastest of the 3. So for all of the boss fights that are like this, so Morton, Roy, and Ludwig, they want to be having a fire flower. So some people may be tempted to use Yoshi to get an extra jump up to the keyhole in this, but no. If you have a blue Yoshi eating a shell, or if you have any Yoshi with a blue shell, like we've got here, he'll grow wings and you get as many jumps as you want.